Welcome to episode 12 of High Above Courtside. My name is Jason. That's Steven. That's Anthony. Guys, what's going on?
What's going on, fellas? We're back.
The vibes are immaculate.
Vibes are back.
So this pod, I think we're gonna do some first half thoughts, kind of get the vibes of how the first half of the season has gone. So Steve, I'll start with you. Just what are some of your first half thoughts of the Celtics team so far this season?
Well, they were kind of asked for a grip there, but we finished it out strong. So Celtics won the seventh game out of the last 8 tries, packing up Wemby and the Spurs. They won 10 of the last 13. I mean, there's been a lot of ink spilled. Words have been spoken. Trolls have been trolling. But you are currently watching one of the better title defense seasons in NBA history. Celtics are on a 58-win pace so far with a plus 9.1 point differential. To put that in perspective for everyone, right? There have only been 4 other teams in NBA history to win 60-plus games in their defense season. 05-06 Spurs, 08-09 Celtics, 12-13 Heat, and 15-16 Warriors. And based off how the boys have been playing as of late, I think they can squeak out to 60 wins. But you want to ask, how rare is a plus 9-point differential, meaning you guys, the Celtics, win games by 9 points? Well, only the Warriors. They had a 10.8 plus point differential, and they achieved that mark when they went 73-9. In other words, defending champs, your Celtics, are yet again in unprecedented company and have been able to fight off the post-title hangover with worse injury in a team-wide shooting slump. It's been absolutely disgusting during that 8-8 run, but if you don't include the Spurs game, because I had a graphic from Shane Young on Twitter. He's a really good follow if you haven't followed him. At 54 games, right? Last season, they were 42-12. Amazing. This season, 38-16. So they have 20-point victories from last season. They had 10, which is third. This year, 14, which is first. So the whole thing what I'm trying to do with this when I lay all these stats is a little perspective, because we all know mid-December to mid-January, that 8-8 stretch was just absolutely disgusting. The offensive rating last year was third. This year, it's fourth. Defensive rating, third last year, fifth this year. Net rating, first last year, third this season. Second pointers. So we were shooting 57% last year. We're 56.5% this year. 3-pointers, 37.8%, 36.8% this season, which is like that little slump I said. But overall, I mean, we're dominating on turnovers. Our rebounding has been shit. But overall, I think this team it's just real tough. And I keep hopping on this 8-8 stretch. But if you take away the 8-8 stretch, and there's 39 games in there, they've gone 31-8. So the first 26 games and the last 13 games. So basically, 70% of the season, we've been doing better than last year. So, I mean, that's like a whole lot of words I just said just to say we're doing pretty good. We just had a little malaise there, some bad injury luck. Shooting's been terrible for a little stretch there, but overall, I think we're in good shape.
I, too, had the Shane Young graphic pulled up.
Hell yeah.
Steve was all over that one. Yeah, like we've talked about, it just, especially these last 10 games where we've gone 8-2, we've talked about how they are waiting to flip the switch, and can they flip the switch? I mean, I think it's really been proven these last 10 games that this team is, anytime they want, they can turn it on, they can turn it off, and it's been incredible of late to see what they've done, especially because they haven't had Drew for most of it. Mm-hmm. They haven't had Jalen the last few. It's just, they're on pace, like you highlighted, for a title defending team to have as many wins as anybody. So it's hard to overstate just how good they've been this year outside of that 1 month stretch. And the biggest thing for me is since December 1st, they're second overall in defensive rating behind just the Thunder, who the Thunder are having the greatest defensive season of all time. So it's like, and that's where it really, the Celtics hang their hat, is they're just so good defensively, and when they're locked in, it leads to good offense consistently. And I don't I don't know who in the East can really challenge them. I mean, I guess it's a little bit tougher than maybe it looked like last season, but they look poised to run away with the second half and really be the favorite coming out of the East once again.
When's the last time we spoke? Did we talk about the Cavs game at all? Last time we spoke was like the Sixers game, right?
I feel like it might have been right before the Cavs game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Packed their sorry asses up. We beat the back out of them and just killer whaled offense them. So they had to get DeAndre Hunter over there, Mr. Hypothetical D and 3 guy. He's just a 3-point shooter who's kind of having an anomaly season. And his size is the only thing on defense that he brings. Because if you think about it, I think Tatum averages like 28 points against him when he's matched up. So whatever. Good luck with that.
I mean, like what Tatum's done, obviously since the last time we've talked, he's absolutely dominated, and it's really like he's put the stamp on like I'm that guy, and I'm the best wing player in the league. Like I just don't know how people still underestimate this guy, and you know he has all like I've said a lot. He has all the answers to the test now. It's like when a quarterback in the NFL hits like his 5th, 6th season and just knows how to read defenses every time. There's just nothing you can throw at Tatum now to slow him down. He knows what's coming. He knows how to make the right pass. I mean, the Spurs in that Spurs game, they were triple teaming him. They were sending doubles at him and then bringing the nail help forward, where it was essentially like he come off the screen. It was a triple team essentially, and he was cooking him every time. Whether he got to the rim or just made the right pass, it's just like it's insane that the steps forward he's taken every single season, and now he's about to turn 27. It's like it's scary for the rest of the league that like I don't know what you do with this guy. And I'm not saying he's like there's other guys who aren't more dominant like Giannis and Jokic, but like a Giannis, he just dominates solely on his power and his athleticism. Like Tatum is just he has that part of the game, and now he's just intellectually is just head and shoulders above where some of these other, he's on that Jokic, Luka level of playmaking, but he's also a physical freak, not to the level of Giannis, but he's, obviously way more than Jokic or Luka, those types of guys are. It's like, it's the closest thing to prime LeBron that we've ever seen since 2012 LeBron, you know what I mean? And it's just, it's a joy to watch every night.
That's not hyperbole. He's better than Kawhi's peak. He just brings so much better. So I think he was. Don't laugh, Jason. You can look up the numbers if you want. I'll come into the next pod with these numbers. But Tatum has been going crazy on that Spurs game. Tony and I there. It was absolute masterpiece to watch. That first quarter was crazy. 14 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists. Over his last 3 games, he had that third quarter with 20 points. And then the one before that, he had a 19-point third quarter. But over his last 3 games, he's 35 points, 9.3 rebounds, 4.3 assists on just a shade under 50% shooting, 37.5% from deep. Oh, man, fuck me. 70% from the line. That is just the worst, dude. Like 50% the other game. I was pulling my hair out. But the biggest one for me over the last 2 games, 1 turnover in a plus 12. This is why he's 4th right now.
When he's getting triples thrown at him, it's like It's insane that's actually the number.
And that's why he's 4th in MVP voting right now via the Tim Bontemps straw poll. I just think this guy's loading up. We're on that. There's like a funny graphic is like of where Tatum is throughout the season. He's trash. He's starting to warm up. He's Jesus of the NBA. Like we're about to enter that pod. So I'm real excited for what Tatum's going to be bringing after the All-Star break.
So I think some of the things that I was going to ask you guys was areas to improve, but I think, Steve, you already pretty much covered it with the free throws. And that was my big point. I even wrote it down on the rundown. The free throws to me, when I see Tatum miss 2, it just, I don't know. It just, free throws to me is like something that like I feel like NBA players in general should be like relatively like decent at or like above average. Does that make
85%.
sense?
Just give us 85%.
It's the one thing that was like an average, 5'8" fan like me, like I can make free throws. Like I can probably make 70%. You know what I mean? And I stink at basketball. It's like so when you watch an NBA guy miss them, it's like what? How? How can you shoot 40% from three on like sidestep threes and miss 2 in a row? It's like it's maddening.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
But no. So for me, it's free throws. Anthony, do you have anything to add on what you'd like to see them improve for like the second half?
I mean, I want to see
continuity on I want to see the defense keep staying where it is. Obviously, that's the biggest thing for me in the playoffs.
And outside of that,
it's the second unit. It's when Tatum sits. What's the second unit look like with Jalen running the show? Because it's looked pretty good these last few games when Derek White's running the show. So I'm really, that's what I'm focused on. When Tatum's on the bench, can we keep scoring? And because that's going to be the biggest thing in the playoffs. When Tatum's on the floor, we're almost unstoppable. It's can we dominate those non-Tatum minutes, and what does that look like?
I wouldn't mind entry passes. Can we practice entry passes? They are so lazy. They just hang up in the air. The defender's able to get over there. That is mind-boggling to me. I mentioned before, Derek White stalls the straw that stirs the drink. Sam Hauser's the one that extends that lead. He comes in, he hits 3-4 threes. Then it becomes like last year's team where these guys are just rolling, blowing people out. It's great to see Sam, even though he had a bad shooting night against the Spurs, to picking it up again. He's feeling healthy, he said in a previous post-game interview. So just getting the health is like super big for me, especially with Drew Holiday guys. That shoulder impingement kind of seems like it's more than just rest. What do you guys think?
I mean, his injury, to me, like maybe they just want to give him like a couple more weeks or to go along with like the All-Star break to kind of get him right. I mean, you don't need Drew right now, right? The dog days of the season, you can get by with everybody else. Give him the time now to get right, even if it's a small thing, so that when you need him down the stretch in the playoffs, he's close to 100% or at least like 90, 95%. So to me, it might be a real injury, like a nagging thing, but I'm perfectly fine with them saying, hey, we'll give you, 2-3 weeks, get better, get 100%, because we're going to need you to play heavy minutes in the playoffs and down the stretch.
Right. The last game he played was February 4th versus
the Cavs. So if he doesn't play, if he plays against the Sixers when they come back from the break, it's 16 days off. I think it's just you're 34, 35. We don't need you now. Like we've said, Pritchard, the way Pritchard's been playing, the way Derek's been playing, I mean, Tatum's essentially a point guard. Like, you don't need Drew Holiday. You need Drew Holiday in April, May, and June. So give him 16 days off now. Al's going to get some rest, and let's get our old vets ready for the stretch run for the playoffs. That's what it is to me.
No, I agree. I mean, he's averaging around the same points. It's just the shooting that's down. That could be part of whatever he's got going on his shoulder. But I agree. Load manage the shit out of him and Al the rest of the way, and have those guys strong for the playoffs.
What about?
I do want to go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, just a quick thing. I was because the last game they played before the break against the Spurs, I loved what I saw from Torrey Craig in those 9 minutes he got. Sinking
great talk.
Sinking 2 threes, a steal, a couple of rebounds. I mean, he looked pretty good, and the Bulls buried him on that bench. He played like no minutes. He was like a garbage time player. And I know the Celtics, when everybody's healthy, he's not really going to see any valuable time. But I think he's going to be a key for them down the stretch to maybe, I don't know if stealing a couple of games is the right way to word it, but like to help them be competitive in games that Jalen and Tatum maybe sit down the stretch if they have a certain playoff seeding locked down. So I don't know what he another guy that's an automatic 3. Like it's kind of crazy how like Celtics keep finding these guys.
So I said to Steve at the game
when he's 2 for 2 from 3. He feels like one of those guys that like playing with Tatum, like Tatum might get this guy another 3-year, $30 million contract, honestly. Like, because all we need from him is like you're gonna be open and Tatum's gonna find you. The ball's gonna swing around you and just knock down open threes, which is like his one. Other than being 6'6", 225, his only NBA skill is I can shoot open threes. And like that's all we need you to do, man. We need you to play 10 minutes and go 2 for 2 from 3, and like not be a complete turnstile on defense. Which he moved his feet a bit against the Spurs, and he had a steal on the baseline at one point. Like that's fine. That's all we need. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Tatum might get Torrey Craig the end of career PJ Tucker 3 years, $33 million contract.
You want to get paid? Come hang out with Tatum, dude, because he'll do it. Tatum said they haven't practiced yet, so Torrey Craig's kind of just going out there, just playing ball, just based off of being like a vet right now. I kind of pissed though they stole assists for him because he had that little scoop pass to Peyton in the corner, and then he had that swing to Tatum for that 3. So I don't know why he only has 1, but that's the other thing. When you're not open, just give the ball to fucking Tatum. That's all you gotta do, dude. Shoot the open shot, give the ball to Tatum.
Yeah, space the floor. Like just be in the corner or on the wing, ready to catch and shoot, and don't be scared to let it fly. Which he is not a guy that's scared to let it fly. So
no, A+ debut.
Yeah.
So if you guys had to pick, who's your first half MVP for the Celtics so far?
Mine is
my first half MVP,
which I think was highlighted during the cold stretch they had, is Derek White. I think Derek White. I mean, the obvious answer is Tatum, but Derek White seems like the straw that stirs the drink sometimes. Like when he's shooting well, they're almost unstoppable. Like it's and that stretch where they were 8-8, he couldn't throw it in the ocean at that point, and it's like that's the guy that when Derek's hitting his shots and playing like the D White we know and love, they're almost unstoppable. They're the best team in the league by far. So it's Derek White for me.
Yeah, excluding Tatum, I'd say I really like what Porzingis has brought to this team. He's been efficient. He's great from rim protection. He's a little sloppy with the turnovers, but I think he just getting him reacclimated. Like that first stretch when he first came back and he wasn't like totally healthy was a little rough. But since then, he's been nails throughout. So I really like Porzingis. And then also, even though we force feed him the ball just like a little too much sometimes, it's going to be huge during the playoffs because you really are picking on your mismatches. So that's like what the regular season is too. Like you're kind of experimenting and seeing how you can do specific scenarios that you can apply in the playoffs. So I really like Porzingis so far.
I think for me, if I had to pick somebody, obviously Tatum, Derek White, obvious answers, and they probably deserve it. But for me, I'm going to go Pritchard just from what he's done off the bench. I feel like he's been their savior off the bench, 6th man of the year, hopefully. I just think they wouldn't win many games, or they wouldn't win some of the games they've won without his bench scoring coming off 20, 25 points. I think he had 20 against the Knicks. So to me, what was it?
He was awesome against the Knicks.
Oh yeah. So that's my first half guy. I think he's been unbelievable, and he's probably playing above his contract, which, credit to Brad Stevens for inking him that deal when they did. Because imagine if he wasn't signed and he did that in a year, he'd be like, I want like 80, 90 million
a year. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's a guy that would be looking at 4 years, 80 million next year.
Yeah.
We have him for, was it 4 years, 32 million? Is it 8 mil a year we have Pritchard for, or a little more?
No, I'll look it up.
But either way, it's pennies on the dollar. It's a ridiculous contract, and he's been unbelievable.
4 years, 32.
4 years, 30.
Whew.
Brad,
unbelievable.
4D chess over here.
Unbelievable.
He's making 7.5 a year.
I mean, he's one of the best contracts in the NBA. I mean, the dude shoots 40+% from 3 and is, a volume scorer off the bench. Unbelievable.
And even though he hasn't been shooting good as of late, like he was able to impact the game a lot. And that's what I like to see from Peyton. Even though, like we all know, he's, dead-eye shooter, he's able to impact the game so many different ways now. And I think that's a great call, Jason, for, one of the MVPs of the season so far.
We have him, he's not a UFA until the 2028-29 season. He's age 31. So he's locked up for a while.
Everybody's locked up. Brad was like, I'll take you. I'll give you one. I'll give you one.
So
let me ask you guys a question.
Obviously, the recent stretch, we've played some East contenders. Obviously, smoked the crap out of the Knicks. The Cavs took them down at home. I think they're 7-1 now against Cavs, Knicks, Bucks. Who is the threat in the East? And I know, like, the obvious answer is the Cavs, but like,
What is this
recent stretch done to these teams that it's like,
like, is it
completely taking the wind out of their sails, or it just feels like we're gonna waltz to the finals again, or what?
I want to hear Jason's take because we always be talking.
God, who do I? It's tough to say because I feel like the Celtics just like beat up on everybody. But again, if there's like one team that can match up when they're on, like if all cylinders are going for this team, I think it's probably like the Knicks. Because I feel like even though we beat the crap out of the Knicks the other night, if Towns is getting his buckets and Brunson is on and Mikal Bridges is sinking threes and OG's back and he's playing good, I feel like that's a team that we could go like 6-7 games within a series and go down to the wire. But like, I don't know. Like I said the Cavs last time, I think when you guys asked me this question, and just seeing like the way that the Cavs play, I don't know. I don't know if I really trust them. And then obviously Bucks, Heat, blow, Pacers, blow. I don't care about the Magic. They blow as well. So I don't know. I just feel like the Knicks are probably like the best team to give them a run, or like a good series.
I think Knicks is a good one, especially if they have OG Anunoby. That's an actual guy that, has a defensive prowess that can deter, some of the stuff that Jalen and Jason does. They have great offensive team. I think we could turn off the spigot a little bit on them on that end, specifically how we've been playing defensive as of recent. I kind of still go towards the Cavs just because like Donovan Mitchell is a wild man in the playoffs.
Killer.
He's so fucking clutch. And also like the defense. Sometimes we get a little hesitant coming downhill, maybe not as recent, but in previous years when you have two Twin Towers down there and it kind of clogs it up for us. And then when we kick it out, because we drive, kick out, and then we get them in rotation. And that's the only way we could really, I feel like, attack them consistently in the playoffs. But then again, you have Garland over there who you could always take, Okoro you can take. So I think it's really tough for the East. The Cavs have been dominating, like shooting the lights out from anywhere. So if they're not hitting it, then I'm not afraid of nobody. But if they're like on, then I see them getting like 2 games against us. But no one's beating us out of 4. No one's getting 4 on us.
I still wouldn't be surprised if
it's Indiana in the conference finals.
also again. I'm not. They're just so hard to guard. Like they're tough to play against in a series. And
I guess what I want to highlight
it is if you look at kind of how the standings have fallen in the East right now, the Cavs. I mean, it looks like if we stay at the 2 seed, which I don't think we're catching the Cavs, we're probably getting Magic, Hawks, Heat, or Bulls in the first round because Sixers are so far back there. The Pistons have got a lead on those teams with the 6 seed. So
so if you're the Cavs,
you might wind up with. I'm kind of rooting for Philly to win a few games in the second half because the Cavs could get Philly in the first round, which they're gonna beat Philly, but like Philly still Maxey and Embiid are still, tough to play against.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bucks Pacers in the second round, you're gonna get the winner of that. You might have to take go against Giannis in the second round. He's gonna be like a battering ram into you. The Cavs might be all beat up if they make it to the conference finals if the standings stay how they are. Whereas us, it's like you might get Magic, Hawks, Heat, whatever. That's easy money. And then the Knicks, we've just
dismantled the Knicks
so far. And, it just feels like another year where we're like, if the Cavs make it to the conference finals, it's going to be a war for them. And we might just waltz there again. And, I guess we'll see what happens. And even the Pistons, aren't
baby food
for a team like the Knicks. They're tough. So
the Pistons will just fight you. They'll just want to turn into a UFC match. They don't actually play.
Isaiah Stewart's going to
beat up Carl Towns in the first round, and who knows what's going to happen.
Stewart's going to get a 20-year suspension off rip first round guaranteed.
But it's almost
I think
the
2 seed is like where I want to be. Like not that we wouldn't beat Philly, but like I don't want Maxey is kind of like a Donovan Mitchell type. He's Donovan Mitchell light to me, where he kills the Celtics always. They struggle with those shifty guys. So like I don't want to deal with Philly stealing a couple games where
So I don't know.
What about the Hawks? Are we being too dismissive of the Hawks?
Yeah,
they dominate us.
They blow
Trae
as well.
Young's a dog. They do blow.
They blow
Trae
as
Young's a dog.
They don't have
They
Hunter.
put
What do they get? What are we like? George's Niang's gonna go like 10 for 12 from the 3-point line. Like I don't
It'll be
know.
like Brooklyn.
When that's
Don't
Karis LeVert,
besmirch the
like,
pride of Methuen, all right?
yeah, seriously. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The East playoffs should be fun, but it seems like the 2 seed. Like I'm wondering if there's teams that are gonna avoid, like if the Knicks. I mean, they're 5.5 up on the Pacers, so I guess it would be hard. But like the way they've got just their ass kicked by the Celtics, like, do you want to like? Would you rather play Cleveland in the second round, where like you can spread them out and like I feel like Cleveland
Does not match up great
with
with
the Knicks because Karl Towns can drag all
Yeah.
those bigs out to the perimeter. So it's like I wonder if in the second half you see some teams like,
I mean, it seems like too many games.
games. So the Knicks are probably locked into the 3 seed, but
We'll see.
I'm looking at the standings right now. I did not know the Pistons were that high up.
yeah,
That's
the Pistons
They're good because
the Magic have lost like 12 or 14 or something
They
crazy.
can't
Like,
score.
Holy crap!
they can't score. The Hawks traded everybody. The Heat suck.
To
and
beat
even
Pistons-
the Sixers
to
are a
beat-
game and a half behind the Bulls.
Pistons, Knicks, first round.
yeah, that's what it's looking like.
God,
it's looking
what a
like the
bloodbath.
Sixers. It's looking like the Sixers don't even have a chance to get the 7 seed. They're too far back of that. If they're in that 9-10, you can only get the 8 seed if you get
Yeah, well,
it.
they got Paul George already getting injections because he's falling
Yeah, well-
apart already on them. So I don't know. I don't know if I say did it's just that team blows. Another team that blows.
Yep.
Embiid doesn't play. George is falling apart. That's why people make fun of Kawhi for being out all the time, dude. Paul George is starting to go down that road.
Yeah,
Dude doesn't
and
What do
play
you
as
guys think
well.
about Tatum and the Celtics just sending all these other teams packing, just like going to the West or what's going on? He's extinguishing all these teams. I love it. That's why I think also like the West is going to be like crazy because even though like OKC and the Cavs have the same record right now, there's a lot going on over there. Like Denver is going crazy. I think they're what, 8 in a row,
Yeah.
which is wild. Memphis is still high. Houston's up. LA's in the 5th spot right now, or Lakers. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be a gauntlet over there. Not necessarily because there's so much going on and there's a lot of big time players over there. So I'm excited for the West.
Damn.
Yeah,
But I
It's
think
another
like the way I was saying with the East, I think the Thunder might be in a Cavs situation where you get the 1 seed, you might get the Warriors
first round.
Jimmy Butler,
That
Steph,
suck.
Draymond in the first round. That stinks. Like I think the Thunder would win,
Stinks.
but that's a tough series. And then if it stays kind of, you could get Warriors, Lakers in the second round, and then have to go Nuggets or Grizzlies in the conference finals. So it's another like, are the Celtics going to be able to do what they did last year in the playoffs? Not play that many games, waltz their way to the finals, and then maybe the Thunder are in 2 7-game dogfights, or they're playing 6-7 games in the first round against who wants Steph Curry in the first round? Like that's
nobody.
No
congrats, you won 68 games. You're an
And
all-time
playoff
team.
Jimmy, even though he's
And
a
here's
bum,
it.
but still.
And here's
He's
Steph
a
and Jimmy
bum.
Butler in the first round. Like that sucks. And here's Luka and LeBron in the second round, where like you'll beat them, but it still sucks to deal with those guys.
And not to mention like Draymond just like bullying Chet probably. It's gonna be crazy over there.
right. It's a gauntlet.
Solid for them. That's why even for them, like I'd rather be the 2 or the 3 seed in the West. Clippers, Timberwolves, Mavericks. Like I don't know. I mean, there'll be a lot of movement there, but like if you're the Grizzlies and you end up with the Timberwolves in the first round, or you're the Nuggets and you get Clippers round 1 and then Grizzlies, that seems like an easy route to the conference finals for the Nuggets. Even though I respect the Grizzlies, I mean, it's Jokic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's
So-
unreal. I think he should win MVP, dude, straight up. He's going to be most likely second in the West. He's got historic numbers across the board. I know SGA is playing unreal, but it really, like, if you just put them side by side, I don't know how you don't put, like, Jokic
I don't know if you
there.
heard
He's
this,
second.
But I don't know if you know this, but best player on the best team didn't matter last year, but it matters this year. So
Yeah,
funny how that works out. You know, I don't get it. Last year it was a knock on Jason Tatum. This year it's the reason Shea should apparently win the MVP. But okay, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So you guys have any final thoughts going into maybe some All-Star game thoughts or beginning of the second half of the season thoughts? Anything?
I'm mad
All-Star
about the
game
dunk
thoughts?
contest.
Yeah.
I don't know why. People still try to make fun of Jalen for doing the dunk contest this year, but I would rather see good players do shitty dunks than G League players do unbelievable dunks. I'm not gonna lie. Give me a couple All-Stars doing whatever regular windmill dunks over KJ Martin or whoever is he even in it. Who's in it? Steph
It's
Castle.
like
Mac McClung?
Steph. Yeah,
I love Steph Castle.
Andre
like
Jackson
Steph, I think he's
Jr.
But Andre, come on.
No, it's Andre Jackson Jr.'s in it, and then that
Mac McClung?
dude from the Bulls, the lengthy, just spot up
Oh,
three
yeah.
shooter. I've never seen him dunk in my
Buzzello.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's actually pretty
I didn't know-
bouncy.
Is he? I didn't know he
thought
dunked.
I thought he was
No
like
idea.
a European guy, but he's actually just from Chicago.
Yeah. He looks very European.
He's not European at all.
They got the teams separated in whatever those 3 different teams they have, and Tatum, Brown, part of the OGs, all those guys, even though they're mad young, and then Jalen Brunson, the older than both those players, on the Young Guns. I love that one. That's hilarious.
Isn't it? Do they have 3 teams?
I think
Yeah,
now
and
the
then-
team that won last night qualifies.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, and
So
they
I
play the
think,
OGs.
Oh,
team won
Because
last
then they
night.
have that international team as well with all the the foreign players.
what
Which
Chuck's
should get,
European studs or whatever they call
Yeah,
it.
which should make them kind of Olympic style. Like, I want to beat these dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know. I think we're positioned real well to dominate the second half or whatever the rest. I hate how they do that. It's like we've gone 55 games. You know what I mean? I don't know why I just put it in the middle, but whatever. I think we're gonna finish up strong and hopefully healthy.
Yeah. Health is the biggest
Concern and
just trying to keep it
on a
on.
roll and keep playing half decent at least, and then get some guys some rest in April.
Yeah,
I think-
and make sure you subscribe as well. And a quick shout out to Boston Sports Zone. Thank you guys so much for doing this. It's been a great time, and it's been awesome.
I think one thing that I have to add is don't be afraid to sit Jason Tatum if the game means absolutely nothing.
Well, the man
Handcuffs themselves to the court. They have to put him on a plane to a city that they're not.
He's
playing
like one of
in.
those
Yeah, take your private jet.
environmentalists on the
Yeah,
highway.
He handcuffs himself to the hoop. He's like, I'm playing. It's like, dude, please, we get it. You want the kids to see you play, but try it out loud.
Yeah, just sit. If it's a game against the Wizards, Nets, go to the bar or something. Just take the night off. It's not that big of a deal.
No.
But that will do it for us. You guys can follow us at HA Courtside on X and on YouTube, and we'll see you guys probably on Tuesday or Wednesday to give all-star thoughts, and then the second half of the season starts. So we'll get going again. So peace.
Later.
Later.